Hello everyone, this is Jacob Hartley from St. George Paramotor. In this video library series today we're going to be covering thermals and what generates a thermal, what is a thermal, and just know how to manage or negotiate those as you're flying a paramotor through the air. So, thermals are generated from the sun hitting the surface. Yeah, this marker's not the best. Hitting the surface at uneven rates. So let's say right here we've got a parking lot. We've got maybe some trees or something, and then we have a grassy field. And so this parking lot, that sun's beating down on it, and it's really getting hot. You think like a Walmart, asphalt, just heating up, baking in the sun, and it's getting hotter than the surrounding areas around it. And once it gets hot enough, it bakes that surface, and the air eventually starts to rise, like this. It's kind of like a bubble that starts to burst, and that air just starts to rise. And so as it's rising, it kind of looks like that. It just gets bigger and bigger as it goes up like that. And so anytime you have that uneven heating of the Earth's surface, you have that rising air. So this also generates wind. So anytime you have that uneven heating of the Earth, that will generate that wind or cause air masses to start moving. And so what happens is the air around this thermal, you've got air around it that's feeding it. It's getting sucked up into that. So you've got that air going like that. And so as you're flying around thermals, what's happening is you kind of have this wind shear layer of rising air and the cooler air next to it. So as you're flying along on your paramotor, what can be dangerous for us is if our wingtip right here, if that hits that shear layer, it can potentially, if it's strong enough, it can potentially cause our wingtip to collapse on that side and then pop back out. It's designed to pop back out. Also, when you're flying towards a thermal, once you reach the edge of that thermal, what's going to happen is your wing is going to surge forward just like this. And you're going to feel that. All of a sudden, you're going to speed up, and you're like, what is going on? And so you're going to apply a little bit of brake once you get into here to slow that surge and level out. And the same thing happens when you drop out of the thermal, is you kind of feel this sudden bump or a sudden drop out of it. And these thermals, they're invisible. There's no way you can see them unless they've sucked up some dirt or dust or debris. A lot of times you'll know where a thermal is by certain markers. And what that would be like, let's say there's birds flying around. So we've got a couple of birds. If those birds are gliding and they're not flapping their wings, chances are they're in a thermal and they're circling in it. You'll see these birds kind of circle around. So if you're a free flight paraglider pilot, those are things we're looking for. We're actually looking for this because this is what generates our lift when we're flying around. But for paramotor pilots, we have our own source of lift, which is the paramotor, so we don't need these thermals. And it creates just more turbulence and bumps for us more than anything. So we want a nice, smooth, buttery flight. So as we're flying around and you're looking at the topography, if you see certain markers on the ground, if you see a blacktop pavement or a building that has a big metal roof on it, chances are those are going to trigger a thermal that you'll be hitting as you're flying near or by that. And thermals they can be our friend and they can be our foe. It just depends on what you're doing with your type of flying. And so if you want a nice, smooth, buttery flight, just go out before the sun rises, because as that air overnight, as it settles down, there's no sun baking that earth, and the air becomes nice, calm, steady, and stable. That's why most paramotor pilots will fly early mornings or later in the evenings when the sun is at its lowest and the winds start to calm down, or there's no winds at all, and it just makes a nice, smooth, buttery flight. Can you fly midday? Yeah, you can potentially, but there are some dangers depending on how big these thermals get. If it's the middle of the summer and it's really hot and these thermals are generating to the point where they're massive, then yeah, that could be a dangerous scenario. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to this video about thermals, and give us some of your comments, your suggestions. What have you experienced with thermals? And we'd love to have you stay tuned in for more of our video content. Go ahead and subscribe and like to our videos. You can also visit our website at stgeorgeparamotor.com. And just a disclaimer, this isn't in place of actual training. This is to give you a little bit of tidbit of how we teach at our school and teach our students. So if you'd like to learn more, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.